Good morning. Let me go ahead and post up that we're live here and see if anybody hops on. We're going to be working on the Micron this morning. Last week was Easter, so we weren't here on Saturday. I do believe Friday morning we worked on putting the CNC Vitali parts on the Trident. I went ahead and buttoned that up after stream because I needed that thing running. So we're just going through and posting this and all the various Discord forums. All right. There we go. Get stuff situated because nothing's set up anymore. Working on all the stuff and moving stuff around. So yeah. Weather's finally getting nice. Maybe a little too nice sometimes. It's been a little hot out here during the day. All right, let's see. We'll let this try tracking us here while we set all this stuff up. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, move our workbench. Get the tripod out. So we can get camera set up. Had to work Saturday, so but got out of there a little bit early, but got a little bit of overtime, so that'll help. I need to get this Micron finished. I need you to hello, hi. I need to get this Micron finished so I got some PPSCF in from Polymaker, and right now it's the only printer that would print that. The Trident, I need to switch out the Rapido heat block for the new style and put a PT1000 thermistor in it so that I can get up to the temps I need to print that. I've got all that. I just need to put it in. So, yeah. All right. Camera. Waiting for trying to figure out what we're going to do next. I've got I think it's going to be the 2.4 rebuild. I was trying to get some sponsors for some content. Polymaker was kind enough to sponsor some filament, the PPSCF, for some testing. So we're going to test that on some Voron parts and see if we can't get some better performance for input shaping results and stuff. So that's my plan on that. So we got to get a baseline for where we're at now, print the parts, and then do the testing. So where we left off on this was we had to print new extruder stuff. For the head for the leaf cutter. Let's see. I'm going to turn the AI tracking off. As soon as I find my cursor, there we are. I think we'll leave that right there. There we are. I need a drink. Need some coffee. I should have made coffee before I came out here. Should have made coffee. Anyway, so there wasn't a whole lot of options for extruder stuff. The problem is the leaf cutter requires some different ducts and the extruder to actually have the little mount on the side to put your lever arm on. So there's a modified version of the wristwatch and the Galileo for the Galileo 2, and there's also one for the BMG gears. So we've got the version for the BMG gears because right now Galileo 2 seem to be unobtainium. The only one that had it that I saw was Philistruder, but budget. So, tool head. My daughter got her little RC cars out. She's been playing with those. Let's get this camera up and going. But anyway, so her RC cars are kind of hanging out all over the place over here. There we are. Go over here. You look at what we got. All right. Clean some of this crap up. All right. So, these are our new ducts. Also, R1 now has some bed fans that are your belt covers. So that's cool. So I printed those out. We'll get those put on. How's this going together? All right, there we are. That's going like that. Is there more pieces to this? Where am I going wrong? Where am I going wrong? Oh, this is for the cutter part. This is for here. That makes sense now. These are old ducks. New ones. We're not going to be using tap anymore. We're going to use clicky probe from now on. Needed to reclaim some Y travel, so I could put a brush in there. Fan out of there. Come out, come out. There we go. I tell you what, I really like this purple. It's violet void. All right. Get that pressed down in here. Which is always fun and exciting. these diffusers to click in there. All right. There's that. Excellent, excellent. Run this wire up through here. Red. Get in there. Blue. Green. There we are. Picture for reference. So I've seen quite a few people lately talking about using the Delta fans rather than these 24-volt fans. The Delta 2510s rather than the 20-volt, 4-volt 3010 fans. And I'm kind of curious. I'd like to get one and try it. All right. Now tuck this wire up in here too. Now I think, so normally you have a piece of PTFE tube in here. And I'm going to wager that that needs to be a heat, switched out to a heat set. And then drilled out for the filament cutter. That's what I'm going to wager. Let's get some heat sets and put those in real quick. Imagine this extruder needs some heat sets in it too. That's a hex. Definitely a heat set there. We'll figure it out. While that heats up, I'm gonna go grab a Red Bull. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So doing these streams at this time of day, it is 5:28 my time. It's always pretty hit or miss as to whether or not anybody shows up. But it is what it is. I need to get stuff done. It's going to be working on it anyway, so why not stream it, I guess. Now here's the only thing. That heat set doesn't come all the way through there. So, but it doesn't look deep enough for us to put two. So we might end up having to take and grind some of that off the top. But I'm going to push a heat set in through this way too. Get off of there. Yeah, pretty close. We might be able to get away with it. We might be able to get away with it. Then I'll run a drill bit through there to make that nice and clean pathway, but heat set on both sides. That way when the cutter comes across, it's got something to cut across. Morning, Collie. How are you today? All right, more heat sets. It is 5:30 a.m. Time is it where you are, sir? Birds are starting to chirp outside. 10:30 a.m., 10:30 p.m. I know you've told me where you're from before, but I'm going to be honest, I've got terrible memory for things like that. $10:30 a.m. Nice. In the UK. All right. That's what I thought, but I wasn't entirely positive, so I didn't want to say anything. There's a couple folks from the UK. There's one or two from the land down under. That heat set on the other side is still hot, in case you were wondering. All right. Woo. The positioning to get this heat set in means you end up melting this stupid duct all the time. The ant head tool head looks really cool, but man, I really hate building it. All right, just gonna clean up those melty bits so they don't get in the way of anything. All right. So we definitely need a heat set. Oh no, we don't. It uses a nut that gets dropped in there. All right. Unhook that. Which is my favorite what? Tool head? I mean, honestly, as far as ease of building and ease of like maintenance and working on, the stealth burner is the easiest. The rapid burner that I've got on the Trident is probably about a halfway point. My least favorite one, honestly, to work on is the mini stealth burner. It's on the V0. I hate that thing. Just finish. What did you end up doing for your terminations? Did you like do the custom rear skirt for different like Molex connectors, or do you? I did Canon plugs on mine, but it it works for the CAN bus thing, but then your wires for your turtleneck kind of just come out through that hole underneath of it. It's not the cleanest thing in the world. And then I added a bypass on it, so now I've got that. Two more wires for the bypass coming out. Yeah, so my cannon plug wasn't fancy. So I know Alan over at West 3D used a real fancy one, but I just used, this is 4 wires, and then the other side just goes together and then screws tight, and you just solder your connectors here, and then the other side comes apart. This comes out and you solder your wires on there. Yeah. When I'm debating whether or not I want to change all that around when when I have to reprint skirts for the front of it for the enclosure anyway. That thing is supposed to ship the end of this month. It's the 26th now. And no word on whether or not they've actually shipped out yet or not. Well, just a couple more heat sets and the ducts we need. All right. I hate how white filament makes everything look like it's printed terribly. Don't know why. It definitely does. These ducks have some weird surfaces on them. I've printed them a bunch of times in a bunch of colors and a bunch of sizes, and it always looks like that. So, but the white definitely shows it off the most. This one goes in this side. And this one goes in this side. There's that. All right. And now we've got an Orbiter 2.5 extruder that I don't know what we'll do with. All right. Let's Get the box with the extruder parts. These are just BMG gears. This has HGX gears in it. This is Galileo 1. This is our last set of BMG gears here in this roundhouse extruder. So, take this apart. All right, this is going to go in there. There's that. Let's get our bearing out of here. We're going to need you. All right. Thought I had some little baggies out here. Where did I put that? Somewhere I had some little baggies. Oh. Put our orbiter and printed parts for that in here. Set that off to the side for right now. There's that. Oh, I guess we're going to need to put that filament switch in here. So, there's a place for filament switch here and here on the bottom. So, we got two of them that go in here. Pre and post extruder. We need that for the Nite owl that's going on here. Running out of, I've only got one more switch left, which is good because I need one for Quickie. Need to get some more switches ordered, I guess. I think I'm actually going to use one of these for the clicky probe and use one of these knockoff ones for this filament switch. It was different. Yeah, so the plugs on a lot of different CAN bus things are different. There's no kind of standard. Some of them use the Molex microfit. Other ones use the TX30 connector. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place. It's kind of whatever fits and works. So I was going through a bunch of RC car parts. So about 7 years ago, I posted up some parts on Facebook for sale, and had a guy message me this week, like I said, like 7 years later, asking if the things were still for sale. I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I still have them. I can dig them out. Started digging them out, organizing them, and going through and inventorying them. And it's like, hey, I'll give you a price on Friday. And he asked how much I wanted for the big part that like he originally was inquiring about before he was like, hey, like, I'll take everything you have. And apparently what I wanted for it was too much and just never responded. Then I'm like, hey, you know, are you still interested? Or because if not, that's fine. I don't want to waste hours of my life going through sorting and inventorying everything I have and coming up with a price if you're not actually interested in purchasing them. Never responded, which I find rude. That's the rudest part. You can simply go, yeah, hey, look, that's kind of more than what I was looking to spend. Sorry about that. And move on. Don't just say nothing. Regardless, I put them back up on the shelf. Maybe I've been wanting to do some RC stuff. So my daughter got a little RC car from her grandmother on Easter, and she has some of these that I got off of AliExpress a couple years ago for Christmas. For Christmas, and she loves them. So maybe I'll. One of these wheels kept coming off the other day. Seems to not want to come off now. I was going to glue it. Yeah. So maybe I'll get another one of those and put all those hop up parts I have on it. Yeah, it's just call it. I get it. It's just like it's a very niche crowd that's still going to be interested. So there are parts for an old HPI Savage, and there were some parts that were hard to get then and are impossible now to get. So it's a suspension conversion for it. And back in 2009, it sold for $180. last time it was listed on eBay was that I could find was a listing over 4 years ago, and it sold for $500. And then I saw a couple that were older than that where it sold for, you know, $400 to $500. And I'm like, hey, look, I didn't buy it for an investment. It's never been used. It was put on a truck, but never used. So I'll let you have it for, you know, what it cost me, 180 bucks. Nope. Like, even if he wanted to take it, list it on eBay, and double his money off of it, he could have done that. But now I'm just going to keep it and find an old Savage, and preferably an electric one this time. I'm done with nitro. And I'll put it on there. Now I'll build myself a new truck. It's one thing I really miss. I lost that truck. I had to pawn it back. I don't know. Fuck. 12 years ago. Wasn't able to get it back. So, truck that cost me like $3,000 to build, I got 100 bucks for. Things you do when times are rough. Oh wait, where am I? What am I doing? Oh yes, wires. I need wires. But in the process, I found a whole bunch of bearings from my RC days. Found a couple ceramic ones actually too. Unfortunately, the ceramic ones, while they're a size that we use, they're not a size. They're not a size that we would use in a place where you would spend the money for a ceramic bearing. But I did find some that get used in some different things, so that's cool. You got a Schumacher Nitro RC car in your garage for years ago. Yeah, so Schumacher made a really nice 8th scale Nitro touring car, and like the 8th scale Nitro. So I raced 12th scale pan cars for a while. I actually had a couple sponsors racing those. That's some. Yeah. So Schumacher wasn't a huge brand here stateside. Okay. Yeah, HPI is actually owned now by a company in the UK. They bought it. Last I knew, they were making the Savages again, but all the fancy stuff wasn't available anymore. Mine was all, like, I had all the frame and everything was custom made by a guy, Jason Larson. He had he had a little company, Platinum RC Products, and he was CNC machining carbon fiber frames and stuff. So all of that was carbon fiber, and the thing was crazy. I put a center diff in it rather than transmission, and actually ran it in both the MT class, and I ran it against the Nitro A scale truggies, and put it on the podium a couple times, running it in the truggy class, running a monster truck in the truggy class. The thing was crazy. But then I actually still have a 12 scale made by Robotronics. It's called Carpet Knife. It's a little 12 scale pan car. And I have the very first RC car I bought for my son when he was 3, the little Losi Mini T. I just put that together the other day. I need to get some stuff. I need to get batteries, a charger, and a radio, because I don't have that stuff anymore. I sold all my RC stuff long ago. Well, most of it. Anyway. This kind of stuff is so tedious. Takes forever. You don't feel like you're making any progress on a build. So we've got to solder up these micro switches. Nope. 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 I don't want you to split like that. I stopped in a couple years ago to man, this thing does not want to. Stopped into a couple hobby shops a couple years ago, and it seems like what's available just is not as diverse and cool as it used to be back in the early mid 2000s. All right, there's that. So anyway, plan for today is I'm going to try to make some progress on this morning with some of this little tedious stuff. And then this afternoon at regular time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come back and work on this some more. Like I said, I really need to get this thing up and going. Well, you probably weren't here for that, but I really need to get this up and going so I can print some PPS-CF. Oh, that ain't good. I just dropped the blob of solder back onto the roll of solder. One switch. Two switches. All right. There's our switches. There's our blob of solder off of the roll. Need some screws. Yeah, that 8-lane ERCF I'm building over there ate up a crap ton of switches. Oh my Lord. Just freaking go in there. This BMG version is a little bit easier to put the switches in. So that's a plus. Hmm. Do I need 2 ball bearings in this thing? It almost seems like I need two. That's interesting. Not seen this tactic before. Yeah, definitely two. All right. Then this wire is going to come around here. Interesting. Because how are we going to get two sets of wires through here? So you'd almost have to take your ground wires and connect them together. And then just bring 3 wires out. Yep, definitely think that's what I'm going to have to do. That's different. All right, we're going to go with the wire on the switch side. then it actually is going to matter which one of these is which. All right. Put some heat shrink on the one that's going to be our ground terminal. I mean, the grounds would end up having to be connected up at the whatchamacallit anyway, so it's whatever, but up at the tool head. It's just weird. But when you only have space for 3 wires, you only have space for 3 wires, I guess. Eye is twitching. This is a little tedious. All right. There you have it. That's terrible. There we go. Now you can see. All right. Now we need a M3 nut. Goes back here. How long is this? 25. Whether M3 nut drops in here. This is a strange extruder. Now we need a motor. We need a motor. Uh-oh. Got scared there for a minute. I think I had another motor for the extruder. Some standoffs. It's like another 25. Or not. All right. 3 by 10, maybe. All right. Huh. This extruder doesn't seem like it's right. Like the back does not want to fit on without a bunch of binding. All right, this seems better. I think there's a gap in between these two gears. I think that was forcing them apart. Now I wonder if there's a mount anywhere for CAN bus board for this. All right. Well. New window. Let's go searching. So we've got the wristwatch BMG. is not the right one. Now I get to go digging on GitHub real quick. CYPH3R42. Did I print that brace? I did. Printed this brace. See if there's Voron. See if any of these happen to have freaking canvas mount. not there. That looks right. So we need this. I think we're going to have to modify it a little bit. We don't need this. All right, I think that'll get us where we want to go. Maybe a center flow. That. Slice. We're going to need some standoffs for this as well. Actually, I don't think this is the right one. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so we need, one of these had some little bits and bobs. I don't know if that'll work or not. No. I don't know. We'll get this going first and then we'll deal with that later, I suppose. Oh, what do I got loaded in over here? Blue. We don't want blue. Suppose we ought to print it in purple to match. All right. Print. Upload and print. All right. That blade's tip is broken. I'm gonna try out this tip on this knife. X-Acto blade number 16. All right, y'all. It's time for me to go to the grocery store. I will catch y'all later. We'll be back working some more on this. Till then, have a good one.